What up, Livingston County? Today we're talking, is spring 2026 the best time to sell here in Livingston County? Let's dive in. Number one, what does inventory look like right now here in Livingston County, but specifically probably Brighton, Hartland, Howell, Pinckney? We are up year over year. We are seeing great products and consistent products week over week. The ones that are clearly winning in this market are the ones that are positioned right through marketing, better plan, better process, and better pricing strategy. We're still seeing multiple offers, highest and best in certain products. Those products tend to be in the bread and butter of our price points here in Livingston County, somewhere between $300,000 and $450,000 from an average standpoint. Today's mid-February here in 2026, and it feels like it's a crazy spring market. It feels like it's the end of March or beginning of April. Ever since January 2nd hit here in 2026, our phones have been blowing up for sellers and for buyers. And the fact that we've seen this much demand and this much activity this fast out of the gate, I think it's going to set a tone here for 2026. From an inventory standpoint, are we balanced? Are we low? Are we creeping up? I would say we're probably at or above last year's standard year over year when it comes to supply. But I also think that a lot of sellers are sitting on the sideline kind of waiting for the weather, waiting for a determination of a long-term effect for interest rates, because they don't want those external factors to derail their plan or affect their ability to get top dollar. I don't think that's going to happen with the proper plan in place. So that's why it's so important to work with local agents, local experience, local products to make sure that it's presented appropriately and priced appropriately so we are getting those multiple offers. What price points are moving fast in this market? To be completely honest, I think that every single price point is moving at a good pace. With that being said, we are seeing longer days on market, which again, don't get me wrong, it's not COVID 2020. We're not seeing all homes and every home sell within 1 to 2 days, but price right, position right, you are seeing that. We sold a downtown Brighton house, $462,500 plus or minus, sold for multiple offers, highest and best, 3 offers, and that would close at $485,000, $20K plus over list price, driving that demand. We're still seeing that on a lot of different products. For example, there was another house maybe a few weeks ago now, $300,000, 60 showings in less than 3 days. That's crazy. We are kind of creeping back into 2025, but even late December, just before the holidays, we listed a $950 price point home, 3 offers, multiple offers, highest and best, and I think it went $20K over very, very quickly. It was a contingent mess of things going on, but the fact that we got that many offers in the middle of winter by serious buyers and got our sellers to the closing table on a contingent deal, pretty crazy. So with that being said, are homes that are priced over $800,000-$900,000 still seeing some great activity? The answer is yes. There's a lot of homes and a lot of desirable communities that drive a higher price point that have built up buyer demand. Because to be completely honest, think about it this way. When you look at that buyer segment or that buyer demographic, our supply here in Livingston County is rather low. There's only a few communities and a few neighborhoods and a few school districts that actually yield that luxury price point. So when you have Washington County and Oakland County bleeding into Livingston County looking for that price point, yeah, you're going to get a lot more serious buyers that are looking at those homes as opportunities and deals based on what they're seeing in their own communities, which is an amazing opportunity for them and those sellers to drive multiple offers, highest and best, depending on those price points. But generally speaking, on an average standpoint here in Livingston County, our average priced home is $370,000 to $390,000. So anything generally speaking, $300,000 to $550,000 plus or minus is going to see a large segment of the buyer pool. That's where probably 70% of the buyer pool exists. But if you're looking to sell late spring, early summer, now is the right time to have these conversations. The more time that we have to create a plan and execute a plan is only going to be better for consumers and those sellers. But why would waiting for a peak spring season backfire? More competition. I don't think interest rates drastically impact your home's price point or what your home sells for, because the difference between 6% and 5.75 is purely just a psychological play. It's probably maybe only a few bucks at the end of the day to buyers. So these buyers are very serious in the market. And with that being said, They say in January and February, we've seen a uptick year over year of 130% mortgage applications year to date. That's crazy. Those buyers are out there. Those buyers are serious. The difference between 6% and 5.7 is irrelevant. We are starting to see the weather open up, which I think is going to be a positive thing. But obviously, does waiting to April and May become a better thing or a negative thing? I think the more competition will diversify that large segment of that buyer pool, that 70% of the buyer pool, to other different products. So instead of having 50 showings on your house and 10 offers, now you're going to have 20 and 2. You want to make sure that we're driving as many buyers through that house as possible. So if you're looking to sell here in 2026, even if it's 6 to 7 to 8 months down the road, it starts today. And what should you be doing right now? You definitely need to get with a real estate agent, get a comparative market analysis or market analysis on the books, and work through a pricing strategy and kind of backstep your way to making sure that we're capitalizing that price point. What do I mean by that? To be top dollar, to get top dollar, you have to be top dollar. To be top dollar, you have to address some of these things. There's still a lot of sellers in this market right now that are throwing homes on the market, not finishing some of these minuscule TLC jobs that ultimately affect massively when it comes to the return on their investment. What I mean by that, addressing small little things like paint, lighting, minor fixes, what cost you $100 to $500 on market could cost you $1,000 to $5,000. And really, again, it's not 2020. At the end of the day, when you are putting these homes on the market, presentation and execution of that marketing, making sure that we're getting in front of many eyes as possible, and then exceeding those expectations when they walk through the door, that's when you're going to see the multiple offers and highest and best. So the sellers, to be completely frank, who are going to win in April are starting today. They're pricing strategically, they're executing a plan, and they are marketing. Those agents, whoever they're hiring, is marketing to the best of their ability, getting as many eyes as possible on your property. On average, we have the analytics, we're getting somewhere between 50 to 100,000 eyes in a local segmented market, 15 to 20 mile radius of Livingston County. And really, we're just trying to get your home on the eyes of as many Livingston County goers as possible. And at the end of the day, too, who is going to win in April are those people that are executing that deep clutter, deep personalized, deep clean, making sure that that home is presented to the best of their ability, because buyers are willing to take on jobs. It's these little things that add up that then get them distracted and focused and feeling like there's bigger problems than the home has to offer. You want to mitigate buyer concerns. Spring is going to be a strong market. Summer will be a strong market. There will be more competition as we tick through 2026. I would say try to avoid that, but strategy beats season. At the end of the day, Pat and I have lived in Livingston County and done real estate for 30 plus years. Collectively, we do about 100 houses a year. We always execute strategic, focused, seller-to-seller strategies. It is not one size fits all, and that's who you need working for you. So again, think it as this moving into 2026. Strategy beat season. If you need to sell, and now is a part of that time in that conversation, it doesn't matter. I think you're going to capitalize on a great, healthy market with stable prices, with rates on the downward trend. And if your product is within that segment of a massively desirable product here in Livingston County, you have nothing to worry about if you execute those things. So if you're thinking about selling this spring, call us today. Let's build a plan and let's execute so you're ahead of the curve and you're not chasing it, because you do not want to chase the market. If you chase the market, you will lose. You want the market to chase you. Get those offers, get top dollar as fast as possible. This is Chris with the Pat Lotz Real Estate Group. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out, LiveCo.